I looked out my window one morning just because I was just looking out, waiting for my girlfriend to finish up to go to breakfast. I looked out the window and I saw a church across the street. And people were walking by. And there was stuff that somebody had left on the street the night before that had not been cleaned on the sidewalk. Not on the street, but on the sidewalk. People were just walking by and is just walking over it and around it. I saw a lady who came in that picked up the trash and took it inside the church and cleaned up the church entrance, you know, the walk in front of it. I saw somebody who valued that space, who looked like she was about 60, maybe 65 the most, that valued that space and picked up the trash. To the degree of our engagement, we identify ourselves as inseparable from what we do. That means when you live by your highest values, that's your identity. That's who you are. So if you're doing what you love and you're doing what's most meaningful to you, you identify yourself through that. And it's like you respect it. So you want to create ideas. You're more innovative and creative with ideas that solve problems in that, instead of just doing what you're told with punishment reward if you're not engaged. How many of you have been with somebody that was not engaged in a company and you thought, well, why don't you freaking do it? Well, it's not on my job description. Wake up. It needs to be done. How many of you know what I'm talking about? They're not engaged. When somebody's engaged, they care. When somebody's engaged at work, they care about the customer. They care to needs of the customer, to find out what the values of the customer, and they care. They care about the environment. They care about whatever it is that they're engaged in. So you'll automatically innovate products, service, or ideas to the degree of your engagement if you're congruent with your leadership. You've heard me mention the 5 S's of leadership, some of you. But some of you haven't. The 5 S's of leadership I'd like to go over quickly. The first S is, what is your service? That's the same thing as asking, what's your mission, what's your vision, what's your message? Those with a mission have a message. Those with a mission have a vision. When the vision is so crystal clear that you can articulate the message fluently, you know you found your mission. But knowing what your service is to the world. I'm a teacher. That's my service. My mission is to make a unique, original contribution in every one of the 7 areas of life. I want to publish a piece on the evolution of religions on earth, to show how every religion is part of the evolutionary process. But the ultimate is a human submission to the divine order, where you're graced by what is. But I'd like to integrate it all, put it together, and make that as a contribution on a plan. I've been contemplating about publishing that. I've got it in audio form, but I'd like to publish it. I want to make some original idea that transcends the paradigms in each of the 7 areas of life. As far as I'm concerned, I'm going to continue to work on that until I pass. The question is what is your service? Because I think that has a vast service to the world. I don't know if the world's ready for it, but I'm still going to put it out there. It may take 300 or 400 years to be appreciated. My mentor is Giordano Bruno. His idea were not honored for 400 years after he pronounced them. He had a teacher beyond him that believed in the infinitude. And he believed that the universe was infinite, and there were infinite worlds out there with infinite beings, and life was infinite. He said, someday in the distant future, we will awaken to the infinity of the universe. That was completely heretical at the time. But he had such a belief in that, he was willing to die at the stake for it. They burned him at the stake over it. But 400 years later, the same organization honored him for being 400 years ahead of his time. I would love to produce something that 400 years from now is common sense. Original ideas that serve. Raise your hand if you can remember